All right. Well, looks like we are ready to go. Hi, everybody. I'm Sable, or you can call me SableDragonRook. Either is fine. And we are going to be doing an all deaths playthrough of Playdead's Inside. Playdead is the same people who made Limbo. Very spoopy games. This one is quite a lot of fun. Kind of a meme category, so I won't hold us up. Let's just get going. I'll give you a countdown for the timer, which will start as soon as I hit this first input. So we'll start the timer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so welcome to Inside. Like I said, Playdead is also the maker of Limbo. If you're familiar with that game, this one's a little less cartoony, maybe, a little more ambient, equally spooky. And the goal of this run is going to be to trigger each of the game's unique death animations once. Hopefully only once, because any more than that and we will be wasting a little bit of time. But the devs, and the creators have taken time to make a ton of different animations depending on what is going to happen to this unfortunate little boy. And we're going to make sure to give them the credit they deserve and actually check out all of the animations that they put time into making. So the rules are essentially, this is a death, for example, so I need to go ahead and trigger this. I don't need to get a death animation every time that I could, because that that would be essentially all the time. I don't need to get them, based on sections or whatever. I literally just have to get each one once. So, for example, we just got captured by a guard. And so now I won't need that again. If it happens again, whoopsie, oh well. But hopefully that one won't happen again. For the most part, all of the deaths in this run have a fairly decent chance of you getting them multiple times if you want. So, if you accidentally miss one, you're like, oh, I forgot to do this particular one. You should usually have a second chance. There are a couple where we really only have one chance, and I'll point those out as we go. Those are usually very challenging ones anyway. Some of these, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure how they ever expected you to trigger them normally. So here we are gonna get noticed by this guy. Maybe. Hi, buddy. And this will be caught by a dog. Also up in the top left-hand corner, we have Morty, my blue-tongued skinky, is going to be hanging out with us. He's always on my streams. But he's usually my face cam, so in lieu of my own face cam that I never have, it's Morty. That was pushed by a dog. That's the only chance to get that one. So we needed to make sure to grab that one before we go on. Reloading checkpoints once you're past them isn't allowed in this run. So you definitely do only have a brief window of time for some of these. Oh, my secret has been uncovered. I'm not actually the one playing, it's Morty. It's been Morty the whole time. So I'm doing kind of, like a little bunny hop. There are very specific kinds of animations that make you move very slightly faster. This is one of them. However, when the boy stumbles like that and starts running, that is his fastest mode of transportation across the environment. So whenever he wants to run, I am absolutely going to let him. And actually, you know what? I'm just going to take getting shot right here. I could have taken it a little bit earlier, but kind of in retrospect, thinking about it, I'm going to take it here. So now we don't need to worry about that one anymore. One of the interesting things to note is that they're actually shooting me with tranq darts. They're not shooting me with bullets. They don't really seem to want to hurt me, necessarily. Why they want me to be captured and taken who knows where Not really sure. This game is not, you know, super heavy-handed with its story, which I quite like about it. There we go, we get that stumble again. I'm gonna make sure to let him run so that we can go super fast. And I could have taken, you know, getting shot there instead, but the checkpoint is a lot further back, which is why I kind of reconsidered and did it earlier. I could have also taken it here. This one is not such a bad place, because they'll shoot you from up on the road up there. So you do usually have a couple backups for if you realize that you've forgotten something, with a few exceptions. The ambient sound design in this game is super creepy, and I actually really love it. Just very low-key, and that's really all it takes, you know? So back to this bunny hopping, right? Doing this, hopping as soon as I touch the ground, is not the same as what I am currently doing. If you do that, if you just hop as soon as you hit the ground, you'll actually be going slower than the boy's normal walking speed. There's a little bit of a cadence to getting these hops just right. And I do believe that these hops are, you know, something like 0.2 times faster than his actual normal walk. So it makes a little bit of a difference over the course of the entire run. Got my little chicken friends following me. They will be important in just a moment. Okay, so I need my chicken buddies. They are the key to this puzzle. And it sounds, you know, appropriately Halloween, but I've got to start this generator before my chicken friends get here. I don't really think chickens and generators are supposed to go together. Sorry, guys. I gotta suck them in so that they knock this hay bale down. Thankfully, they're okay. They're fine. And now we've got just a cart of pigs. Creepy pigs with like worms sticking out of them. We're kind of just walking into this section that is just filled with these wriggly worms. And they seem to not be normal worms, I guess let's put it that way. So this is another death that I only really have this one chance to get. This is going to be tackled by a pig. I do need his help though to solve a puzzle, so I gotta trick him into running into this wall. Just enough that I can pull this disgusting worm out of his butt. And now he's not really possessed anymore. So I can just kind of drag him around and he's not angry. So these things that I wear on my head let me control what appear to be, you know, just mindless drones in the background. They do whatever I do. I just happen to be doing it in reverse at the moment, but... And so up here we start to see a line of people. We're basically going to follow this line of people kind of for the rest of the game, on and off. As we keep up with what sort of spooky shenanigans they're up to. But for whatever reason, the boy in the red shirt that we're playing as seems to kind of be different. He's not mindless like everybody else. There are basically two kinds of people in this world, right? There's the mindless people, like the ones in the line back there. And there are what appear to be workers, who all of them are wearing masks. Whether they're adults, whether they're kids, doesn't matter, they're all just wearing masks. So this boy that we're controlling seems to be, you know, somehow special. Actually, let me move this a little bit closer to me first. Pretty sure it's the haircut. Yeah, for sure it's the haircut. Anybody who has a haircut like this. Boy, we gotta wrangle them and turn it into something else, I guess. The death animation for falling with that safe is actually a little bit different than just straight up falling, so we gotta grab that real quick. Technically that one is called heart attack from falling safe. You can also get fall from a great height there, but there are better places to get it, honestly. And so I will wait. Most likely because we'll get it on accident as we try to do something else. I'm gonna get this guy here. Open this door. There's a guy on the inside that I gotta pop out. He did a little jazz dance there in the background for really no reason. Alright. Easy. Well, since this boy's primary purpose in life is, in fact, to grab things, he's very good at it, thankfully. Unlike some other games that I might be known for. So there's that line of people again, just being creepy. So at this particular moment, you know, we're basically... things are relatively normal. We're going through houses, over roofs, through rooms. Things that normal people might do. As we go a little bit further, things are just going to keep getting kind of weirder and weirder. And by the end of this game, you're not even gonna recognize that it's the same game. Which is part of the reason that I like it so much. Getting quick pulls on these pieces of wood is much harder on controller than it is on PC. Alright, so I'm going to intentionally solve this wrong just so I can get, you know, zapped by one of these zipline things. The only way that you know that you've triggered all the deaths is just to memorize them. There's no in-game tracker or anything that lets you know. It's just, you know, the community has kind of agreed on what all of the unique animations are. And so you keep track. I see Morty's on the move. Morty will be off doing his own thing, you know. Being a lizard, having good times, I'm sure. I was gonna say I'll be doing my best to keep this little boy safe, but that is in fact the opposite of everything that I am trying to do, so... So now I'm part of the line that we've seen in the background for the entire game. And this thing is watching me, so I have to act like everybody else or it's going to notice me. And I want it to notice me, but not quite right now. This is not a good place for it to notice me. The strategy behind this run is essentially, you know, the boy's gonna die, you're gonna have to reload checkpoints. So where is the most advantageous place to do that, right? And up ahead, we're gonna have the chance to get shot by this thing, and then also be right on top of where we got shot by virtue of the checkpoint. So that is a better place to do it than doing it right now and having to replay this little section. And I can, you know, shimmy a little bit. I don't have to be exactly perfect. Like, once these guys stop, I can kind of, you know, keep going. But if you want kind of world record times, you can see I'm essentially just right here, which is what I wanted. If you want world record times, you are going to do this little shimmy forward, because it'll help you skip a cycle, but for the sake of, you know, not triggering this animation any more than I have to, I'm not gonna shimmy. I wanted to be out of the yellow box so I didn't have to participate again. So I have no idea, you know, what these guys in the background are doing. The kids, the adults, everybody has masks. So I've already gotten hit by this guy. We don't need to worry about that. Next order of business is just get out of here safely. There's another checkpoint in here if I should need it, but I shouldn't. Alright, one more cycle and we'll be good to go. There's a guy with a dog in the background. And he is about to notice me. One of the harder puzzles in the game, I would say. I obviously know how to solve it, and yet sometimes I still do it wrong. It's just a little bit of a brain buster for some reason. And then following this puzzle will be one of the few deaths where we only have the one chance. This is the only time in the game where I'm going to be able to do this. So we're going to hang around for potentially a little bit, see if we can trigger that. The good news is that if I should mess up, I will get other deaths as a result, so it's not, you know, wasted effort. It's a good way to kind of double up on the stuff that I need to do anyway. Okay, so we're solid. We're through here. This is going to be crushed by a horizontal door. This and essentially one other death are the hardest ones, definitely, in the entire run. Okay, so that one, not quite, right? It kind of looked like I got stuck in the door, but I didn't. So that's gonna count as fall from a great height, which is good. Like I said, we can double up on the things that we need to accomplish, which makes this a little bit more bearable if you should miss. This will probably take a couple tries. Like I said, this is this is a very hard death. Not only because you have to time, you know, his falls correctly, but because even if you time it right, there's a chance that it's just not going to trigger, right? You're just going to fall through like I'm doing, instead of the game being like, oh, actually, we have an animation for that, you know? Every time I club my head, it robs me of the chance to do drowned here. It is definitely extremely precise, which is why it takes, you know, a couple tries. Have I gotten it on the first try before? Sure. But, you know, a lot of it is just kind of being lucky. Stop clubbing me in the head. I just want to get drowned while we're here. I mean, I can get drowned later if it ends up being kind of inconvenient to get it here. Stop killing me. I want to die differently. Exactly. I think that, you know, for people who are starting out learning this is definitely, obviously, a place where they kind of get stopped for a little while. Ooh, that one looked really decent. It just didn't quite suck me in. I promise, we'll get it. No worries. This death is literally why the estimate is what it is. Alright. So, now, we will go through. I won't take drowned here, because we have the chance to progress. I didn't happen to get drowned in the course of doing this. So I'm not going to bother with drowned, I'll get it later. Unless I happen to accidentally drown here, which would be both convenient and not convenient at the same time. Alright, so onward we go. There's essentially one remaining death that basically only has one chance. Technically there's two, but you really don't want to chance it. The second option only has one opportunity and then you're past it, and it's insanely hard, so basically there's only the one chance. But that's quite a lot further, so for now, we're back to sort of the easier ones. Thank goodness. But part of the reason that the world record holder's time is so good is because Parhelion, the world record holder, has a first try horizontal door. Very clean run overall. Alright, so let's stick this thing here so that we can stand on it later. And I'm actually just going to take this death immediately. This is zapped by a sentry spotlight. I could have done it after the next checkpoint, but in the end, you know, I was here. We might as well grab it while we're here. Like, I could have just gotten it right there, right? By just jumping into this one, but... I think I'm gonna elect not to take Fall from a Great Height here. I guess we've already gotten it, so I don't need to worry about it anymore. I forgot that we got it as part of Horizontal Door. So no worries even. We don't need to worry about it even later. That makes it even easier. The sound design in this game is so good. It's just little things, you know? I'm gonna play it a little risky and start to jiggle that second plank. These dogs are gonna be close. But that should help me to 2-cycle this instead of 3-cycle it, so that I only need to trick the dogs, you know, this one time. Hopefully. This is where we would normally take Fall from a Great Height if you didn't do it during Horizontal Door. Because the checkpoint is literally at the top of the ladder, so you just intentionally miss the ladder, jump down, take the death, and then just restart, and you're right there. And so now we're introduced to Mr. Submarine, who I would argue is one of the harder things about Inside as a whole, not just this category. It doesn't really seem particularly complicated, but there's this little boost mechanic, which I'm doing right here, timing it just right, making sure that it does the things that you want it to do is a little bit easier said than done. I'm actually going to choose not to do one of the riskier strats with it, because I fully acknowledge that I am not particularly good at it. There's going to be a door later that I need to close with this thing. And if I can just barely tap the door with the top of the submarine, I can close it and go through at the same time. And I'm not really very good at that. And the alternative is death. Of the unwanted kind. And a very long replay, so... Just pretend I did it, okay? I gotta break a hole in that wall, just big enough for the boy. That's good enough. So next on our trajectory is crushed by rolling barrels. Easy peasy. And we're getting toward one of my favorite sections for sure. It all kind of has to do with sound design. Again, I'm a big fan of the sound design of this game. So I'm working my way toward that section. You can actually just very barely pick it up in the background sometimes. A little thumping noise, or sometimes the lights will flicker real briefly as a result of that place. Oh, that makes me nervous every time. Every time. I haven't missed it in a long time, but still. So we've got this door open. Mr. Submarine can come with us now. And there was the water girl. Creepy thing. So she's a thing now. She's just in the water with us. That's encouraging. So I'm about to lower the water. That's why I need the sub to be on this side, so that when the water lowers, it will be in the correct place. I could again take drowned here if I want to, but the checkpoint isn't like super favorable, so I'm gonna save that for later. Onwards and upwards, Mr. Sub. And here she is. Here's our water girl. I need to get the heck out of here so that I make sure I trigger a checkpoint before we get depressurized sub, which is the next death that we need. That one really gives me the heebie-jeebies. Underwater stuff like this in any video game really freaks me out. Go away. I've had more than enough of you, that's quite enough. Stop. So this door, you know, coming through it, I could barely skim the bottom and close the door as I come through, but if I miss, the girl is going to depressurize me again. And so I need to make sure that that doesn't happen. That's a very time-consuming mistake to fix. As compared to, you know, spending an extra couple seconds to close the door afterwards. How he doesn't have broken bones is beyond me. Like, sure, I guess he landed on sand, but come on. So now in the background, I will be quiet for a little while. In the background, you might, depending on just how much audio is being picked up, you might be able to hear the quiet thumping of what is to come. So this next bit is all about me gathering up my boys and having a good time. I need the help of every single one of these floppy, mindless dudes that I can find. And there does turn out to be quite a lot of them. I need to build my own little army here. So the goal of this section, it's the longest, I think, like, single section of the game. The goal is, you know, just to round up as many of them as I can. So first order of business, I gotta grab one of these little mind control things that let me, you know, have them do the same thing that I do. That changes my walk and sprint animation, so my jumping cycle is a little bit faster for as long as I'm wearing this hat. Next, we have a death that is really hard to correctly size up. First try though, impaled on a spike. That one's a little bit tough because you don't really have, you know, consistent markers for where you need to leave the ground or how long you need to push forward to get him to land on that just right. And it's very picky about whether he's actually landed on it or not. Come on up, my friends. Well, good try, guys. I wanted them to shoot me forward, and they decided to shoot me into the air, but it's cool. They gave it their best. So if you haven't gotten kind of the gist of this run by this time, you know, the next death is going to be getting myself squished by that minecart, because of course it is. So let's just hang out and wait for my my little friends to smoosh me. So now that they've done that, I can actually solve this puzzle the way that you're intended to. I tell ya, the thing that they really went all out on was the sound design for this. So I'm gonna be just a little cheeky up here because I feel like it. When I pull this jetbox lever, it's gonna shoot the jetbox into the air. I'm gonna stick this on top of it so it doesn't go quite as high, and I don't have to wait as long. There's always the risk that I prevent it from going up at all, and then I just kind of get myself trapped, but... Come, my brothers! Join your friends. Guys? Thank you. Thought they just kind of noped out. So my little army is growing, which is good because I'm gonna need every single one of them in order to open the door that I'm trying to open. But we don't have nearly enough yet, so next order of business, up to the top, we gotta grab more dudes. This guy's not doing so well, but you know what? A for effort. We'll take him anyway. I'm sure those guys are fine. They seemed like the hardy sort. They didn't just fall 3 stories. They're good. Alright, so this is the last step for this puzzle before we get to my favorite section. Gotta wake up my friendos. They're fine. I told you they'd be fine. And we gotta grab one last little group of guys, and then we're all gonna go back together and open up this door. The whole gang's here. The Avengers are assembled. Let's go and solve this puzzle. And by puzzle, I mean let's all go stand in the same place, because that's just the puzzle. It's a pressure plate. It needs a certain number of dudes to stand on it. Once they're standing on it, the door will open. Which is why that guy previously, who was just like lying on the ground, was fine, because in the end, whether he's standing or lying down, doesn't really matter. He just counts toward the total weight that you need for the pressure plate anyway. Alright, here we go. Definitely my favorite section of the game. Love the sound, love the overall level design. Alright, so that was blasted by a shockwave. I don't mind taking that there. Any time along here is basically fine. We needed blasted by a shockwave at some point, so that's cool. Now, am I gonna try to one cycle this clock? Probably not, because we already have the blasted by a shockwave. You know, I'm actually gonna just wait. We have blasted by a shockwave. I have the luxury of waiting and making sure that this is exactly where I need it to be. So that I don't take an unnecessary death here. Although, that was kinda high. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little concerned. There, I made sure that I jumped and fell with it instead of just jumping straight to the ground. So that, we would be sure to be okay there. Tight timing on this puzzle. We are looking good as far as cycles are concerned. I'd rather not get blasted here, but it's going to be very close. We need to just hook the edge of this door on this... Nope. Ah, not quite. On that railing. Just like an inch away. Or else, you know, that happens, so that's fine. I'm actually gonna wait, just to make sure. Oh, please. Oh, please. So close. Alright. Done with that section. That shockwave clock is pretty challenging to not take extra deaths on. I did take one. That's alright. It's usually the clock itself that is the problem, so that's good. Little unlucky, the boy decided to do his little choking animation twice. Instead of just when he first came out of the water. No biggie. So this one is going to be crushed by a vertical door. Which we will need a little bit of precise timing for. There we go. So now we've got that one out of the way. We won't have to worry about that later. There is one more opportunity that is way, way harder as far as getting vertical door. So now we don't need to worry about it. I don't much understand this death, but it was chosen by the community to be included in this run. This is going to be hitting a rising jet box. It seems to me like it would just be fall from a great height, but it's kind of unanimous that that is a separate thing, and so we do it. This is the only opportunity to get it, but it's also very simple, so... And there she is, everybody's favorite water girl, just chilling. And now she's moving. Oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it. Nope. Does not matter how many times I run this. She is still way too close for comfort. Alright, so jumping up like that will trigger a checkpoint, and then I'm actually going to go down and meet her for Drowned by the Water Girl. And there's nothing, like, inherently spooky about her, right? She's just like a humanoid girl with long hair. But boy, did they do a good job of making sure that you are absolutely freaking terrified of her. So I need her to be, like, as far away from this platform on the right as possible. So I'm just gonna dip my little toesies down into the water and trick her into coming further this way without getting me. And that's gonna give me just enough time to head through here without her munching on my ankles. This is the other vertical door death that you could choose. As you can see, the timing is much stricter, and 9 times out of 10 the water girl is gonna get you anyway. So it's much safer to do the vertical door where I did it instead. Now there is a 1 cycle that we could do here. But honest confession time, I have never gotten it to work. And the world record holder, Parhelion, and some of the others who work on Inside, admit that it is super, super difficult. Basically what you do is you go down here, hit this, and then right about here, you go back down, hit it again, and go through the door as it's closing with just enough space that you don't get smooshed and she can't make it through. Like, your margin for error is literally like a fraction of an inch. She does not give you space, and if you die, you have to do the entire section again. So, for the sake of a marathon, you know, I wasn't gonna brush up on that, since it's way too risky to do in a marathon setting anyway. But if you're interested in the absolute fastest that you can go, for sure, that is something that you can do. So right here, past this box, I am going to just choose to drown. Because we have actually not gotten drowned yet. I was going to earlier with the crushed by a horizontal door, but then we got crushed before we got the drown, so... So here's our best friend, the water girl, again. Because of course. Mortcam was lagging a little bit, so I fixed that up while I'm being dragged to my doom. So the water girl grabs this thing, right? This yellow, I don't even know what it is, thing attached to a cord. And just plugs it right into my chest. And then she's gone. She, like, has no further interest in the boy, now that that thing is plugged into him. I got some fish friends, though, so that's going for me, at least. So the reason that we can't use this particular occurrence to count as drowned by the water girl, like why I got a separate drowned by the water girl death, is because, as you can see here, I wake up and I'm fine. So I didn't actually drown, and that's why we can't count this as drowned by the water girl. So from this point on, it is actually impossible to drown, so any water-related deaths like that need to be done before this happens. Check out this window in the back, by the way, the one that I'm swimming past right now with the number 3 on it. I just like that spooky guy that comes swimming forward. So we're on our way now to cut by a circular door. We actually have 2 opportunities for this, but the second one, as I was talking about earlier, is you have literally 1 shot, because you're not allowed to reload saves. You're not allowed to load, you know, separate sections once you're past them in this run, so you need to get it on the first try. The door is like an 1/8 this size, and you zip through it at like 70 miles an hour, so really hard to get that death here, which is why we will essentially always take it right here instead. Am I going to chop myself on these turbines on purpose? Absolutely. But first, I need to go and trigger a checkpoint so that we don't have to do that whole circular door nonsense again. So I'm not forgetting, right, to do the turbines. I'm just going up here on purpose to real quick get this checkpoint. Which is gonna be right here. And there we go. Chopped by a turbine. If I had not gotten zapped by a sentry light, I could get it here. This, I believe, will be the last opportunity. I'm gonna try to one-cycle this. It's really tight timing on a controller. A little bit easier on mouse and keyboard. Well, so much for the one-cycle. The boy decided not to grab. Oh well. You don't need the one-cycle, you know, in order to get a good time. It's just kind of convenient because I don't have to slam my joystick around trying to do this lever, but there we go. We were able to start a lot earlier that time. Not gonna chance it. I could probably make it up there before the light did, but not gonna chance it. Would be worth it to chance if we had not already, you know, gotten the zapped by a light thing. You may be able to hear my dog in the background tearing up the carpet. Sorry. So we are essentially approaching the other really, really hard death that remains. And it's going to be crushed by a flying jetbox. So basically how jetboxes work, they're these things like I'm about to let down off of this platform. They're these things that you pull the lever and they fly into the air. What's important to know about them is that they actually exist on slightly a different plane than the boy does. If you think about a side-scrolling game like this, you know, there's X and Y axis, which is left and right and up and down. And then there's essentially the Z axis, right, which is the depth of the game from front to back. And you can see that the boy is standing in front of the box. He is forward and the box is back. In order for this box to land on my head, I have to trick the game into letting the boy be in the back. And obviously in a side-scrolling game, you're not really supposed to do that. You're always kind of on the same plane. So I'm gonna need to try to see if I can get the game a little confused about where I'm located so that that thing hits me on the head. The first order of business, I need to get the boxes set up the way that is going to be beneficial to me, which means this box comes right over next to this other one. I'm going to send this one into the air, grab the lever of this one but not pull, so that I'm on the same plane backwards as these boxes, hop over, and then try to jump into the one that's falling. Jumping will help to keep me on this deeper plane. There we go. Second try is really decent for that death, so I'm quite happy with that. I did not expect it to go that well, so yay. Also, the sound effect of, like, pulling this thing off of this door up here is the most satisfying thing ever. I love it. I like this category because I like meme categories. Like, I like categories that take a creative look at a game. Sometimes that's any percent, and sometimes it's, like, category extensions like this. Like, this is literally just the any percent route, but you die on purpose. So, it just lets me play more of the game, right? Ah, I chanced it. I went just like an inch too far for that guy and he noticed me. But again, you know, it's fine, the checkpoint is right there. It's not really a big loss. It was worth it for the chance to save that extra time. I'm just too cheeky for my own good. Alright, so they're gone. I'm dragging this box with me because, you know, normally the way that the camera is kind of set up when you enter this area, you don't realize that there's a left path, and so you go right, and then you realize you can't solve that puzzle. So we need this box to solve this puzzle, and that's why I went to the left first. This puzzle baffled me the first time that I played this game. I had no idea how to solve this. It still kind of bends my brain a little bit if I think about it too hard. Easy peasy. It's real hard to actually see, like, where the bottom of this water is, so I'm just gonna kind of hang out here and not risk accidentally falling from the water ceiling. So one more time, I need a little army of friends here to help me, and conveniently they are all up in the ceiling. Splat! They'll get their act together here in just a second. Except for this one. This one is kind of a little, not looking so good. We'll just let him hang out. So in the meantime, these ones are going to help me solve the last couple puzzles in this run. We have one more death to do, and it is very easy. So jet boxes, like those flying jet boxes, were essentially the last true check of difficulty as far as the deaths go. So we got some more friends joining me here. And then the final death. This is not where timing stops, it just happens to be the final death. is actually back here. That is called Thrown by Freaks. I don't think that they're freaks. They're my buddies. I wouldn't call them freaks. But that's what the death is called. So, with all of the deaths done, we now just need to get to sort of the end, not really the end. Timing stops a little bit before the true end of the game. But we will get to see... We'll get to see enough. Let's just say that. Thrown by friends sounds so much better. You know, I say that they're my friends, and now I'm about to abandon half of them. Because I just don't need them. Sorry, guys. But for real, though, I don't need all of you, so... Bye! Alright, I only needed a couple of them to help me open the door. And now we're essentially reaching the end of the game. You can see there's some guys in the background running. Something has caught their attention and they are very urgently trying to go and see what it is. There's a cigarette there that was still lit, like somebody left in a hurry. The phone is just hanging off of its hook, like somebody dropped it. And see, they're like adult people, and they don't care about catching me anymore. Like, there's something more important, right? This whole game has been about catching me until now. So they're all looking into that vat, checking something out. And we are almost there. I like to mostly just be quiet during this part of the run, because the ambience is just so nice. And by nice, I mean creepy. So there's a fan down on the floor. I want to pull that lever that's down there, but the fan is too strong. So I gotta go up here and shut the fan off for a hot second. This is the other circular door I was talking about. You can get cut by a circular door here, but look how fast you go through, right? So here we go. This is the end game. This to me is what makes the run entirely worth it. Stop touching me with your creepy blob hands. So I, as the boy, have been absorbed into this amorphous blob, and I am now the blob. And this is, of course, the requisite part of the game where I mention that I think that they missed a great opportunity to turn this guy into a stress ball that you can squeeze, and that came with like a deluxe version of the game or something. I would have paid for it. So, you know, every now and then, as Blob Man, I lose some limbs, I lose a couple chunks. I'm probably okay. I'm squishy. I can take it. So we are going to be approaching time here in just a second. I'm basically just going to be running right for the rest of the run. So I'll call out time once we get there. But basically this is like the main hall for all of these workers. And I am just gonna blast my way right through, right to the office of the CEO of this company. And timing is going to stop once I smoosh him. So we'll get ready with time here in just a couple seconds. And time. So that is the end of the speed run for Inside. There's still a smidge more of the game itself, but I mean, we got to be Blob Man, and that's enough for me, right? Who doesn't want to be Blob Man? So, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed. Oh, really? Alright, well, if I have permission to showcase the rest, then by golly, we're not done with Blob Man just yet. Buddy, I'm gonna need you to pick this up. Thank you. Alright, I am going to make just a blitz toward the end here. Blobby boy, I need your assistance here, okay? And hurrah! Nope, there you go. Though doggos, they're too small to do anything to me now. Alright, I gotta wait for this thing to come down. I'll use the log to prop it up. And up I go. So there's a guy over in the corner that, rightfully so, is absolutely terrified of me. And if I get too close, he won't open this door for me, so I need to kind of hide back here. And pretend that I don't see him. He's looking at me like, oh god, please. I lost kind of half of a torso there. It's probably fine. Alright, so I'm gonna open up this furnace and light my box on fire because we passed by a thing that was like super flammable and I want to make it explode. Did you ever think that a blob man could be so nimble? So up into this to blow that up. That triggers the security doors to open, like the emergency exits to open because it thinks that the building's on fire. Which, I mean, it kind of probably actually is, so that's fair. Alright. Now, if you couldn't tell, of course, Blobman's a little bit thick. And we're gonna use that thick goodness, I am never saying that again, to break through this wall. Meanwhile, our scientist guys don't really seem to be scared of the blob anymore. Like, I can't do this jet box on my own, but if I literally just toss it up to this guy, I'm like, hey, buddy, turn this on for me. And he's like, okay. So he doesn't really seem to be scared of me anymore. Could be that he just wants me out of his business. You know, could be that they're trying to test how smart this thing is. We're not really sure. I want it. Give it to me. But it's just a trick. Not to be outdone, however. Blobman finds his way out of here in a solid 20 seconds. Way to go, scientists. And we are very nearly there. If this were any percent, we would be coming up on time, but all deaths has already stopped its timer. So I am just going to use my immense blobness to try to smash through this wall. And that would have been time for any percent, if that's what we were doing. So obviously, right, the blob can swim, it can walk, and the ocean is right here. We're so close, and yet this is where we coast to a stop. And after this, we just can't move anymore. I'm hitting buttons, and our poor blob man seems to have finally given in. Maybe he's just happy. Maybe he's happy in the sun. I don't know. But he was so close to freedom in the ocean, and he just Boy, he didn't quite make it. So, the credits are gonna pop here in just a second. So that is one ending of this game. There is another ending if you follow the yellow cords that you see throughout the game, and you pop open a bunch of little secret things. You will be able to unlock that secret ending, and it is completely different. So it's actually definitely worth a second playthrough to see that. But that was Inside All Deaths. We got all of the unique death animations in the game, plus a little bit of bonus stuff at the end. Thanks for having everybody. Thanks for having me, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. And let's just enjoy some really depressing credits while we set up for the next run. Also, of course, my dog is just making a racket in the background. Maybe you can hear him. He's been at it for the whole run. Back and forth with his bed. Thank you for the GGs, everybody. It's definitely a very fun run. I'm a big fan of it, even though it is, you know, sort of kind of gruesome. In reality. And you can't tell me that you wouldn't want this blob man as a stress ball. Like, come on. Squeeze him and his little arms, like, wiggle around. Tell me you wouldn't pay for that. Well, the credits are over. That's it for me. I'm packing it in. Thanks again, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the marathon. Have a happy Halloween.